Life in America has changed. So it is that we can make our living on a farm and have a home in town. So it is that we can live where we want to. And the shopping centers now come out to meet us.
I love to go a-wandering along the mountain track. And as I go, I love to sing my knapsack on my back.
The 50s were a time when Americans started to move like they had never moved before. In 1950, Americans owned 40 million cars and trucks, a number that would double by the end of the decade. In 1956, President Eisenhower signed the Federal Aid Highway Act, and work began on a 42,000-mile system of interstate highways. For the first time, life in America had a fast lane. To serve the mobile masses, drive-in restaurants popped up all over the country.
Come join my happy soul.
Entrepreneurs were quick to come up with gimmicks to turn fast food into fast profits. But no one would understand the need for speed better than two brothers in San Bernardino, California. Dick and Mac McDonald.
After World War II, their attitudes were completely different. They were impatient, and we were beginning to get many complaints how slow the service was. We decided if the customer wants fast service, we're going to give them fast service.
The brothers slashed their menu from 25 items to focus on 3: hamburgers, fries, and milkshakes. They boasted that you could get served not in 20 minutes, but in 20 seconds.
They made the decision. A hamburger or a cheeseburger. They pre-selected the condiments, a dab of ketchup, a dab of mustard, a touch of onion, a little pickle, the roll. Bingo, that's done. You don't get a choice. You get French fries and you can get a shake. We'll make the decisions. They mechanized and speeded up the whole process and kept the price down and kept the quality up.
I was there on opening day and sold the first McDonald hamburger. In fact, I sold 6 of them. The first order was 6 hamburgers at 15 cents a piece, is 90 cents. And that was the start of a great dynasty. It was like being in a fishbowl. People could look in front and both sides of the store and see everything that was being done. And I think that was important to a lot of people, especially in those days when there was a lot of bad product put out. It was great. And it was fast.
I think McDonald's was like Levittown on a bun. I mean, it was that same wonderful uniformity, no surprises. Also, the great genius, of course, was fast food, because again, you had to have fast food or you wouldn't have time for the 40 activities your children had after school each day. So as the culture changed, the food had to change with it.
By the early 50s, Dick and Mac's little hamburger stand was showing an annual profit of $200,000. The brothers decided to sell their first franchise to Phoenix businessman Neil Fox.
When we started the franchise, we had no intention of anybody using the name. What we were going to sell them was a building layout, an equipment layout. They wouldn't have to worry about getting a contractor to design this and that. But we had no intention of them using our name, primarily because our name meant nothing, outside of San Bernardino. But for some reason, Neil Fox wanted to use the name. He says, the name would be Lucky. And we tried to talk him out of it. We said, oh, forget it, Neil. Nobody in Phoenix ever heard of McDonald's. Well, he said, and he kept after us. So one day my brother said, listen, Neil's such a good egg. He says, if he wants to use the name, so what?
The invention of the golden arches was Dick's idea. One architect called them a bad dream. Another agreed to include them in his blueprints only after McDonald's agreed not to divulge the architect's identity. With the addition of more franchises, the success of the McDonald's drive-ins caught the eye of one of their suppliers, a milkshake machine salesman known as Mr. Multimixer, Ray Kroc.
One day I'm sitting in my office as the fellow came in. He says, had a high voice. He says, "Hi, my name is Ray Kroc." He said, "I can't understand it. No matter where I get, the line is still out to the street." He said, "Do people stand in line like that to get a milkshake and a hamburger?" I says, "That's it." He says, "Well, how long will those lines continue?" I says, "Till we close down tonight." He could not believe it.
When I saw the McDonald brothers, I envisioned selling hundreds of Multimixers and getting a profit on the Multimixer. And that's all I thought about right then.
Ray Kroc finally did see a future in hamburgers. He became McDonald's franchise agent and set about fine-tuning the fast food formula.
Production control begins with the very first batch of 12 hamburgers. Bun tops are put on first and covered with a bun board, followed by bun bottoms.
Although the franchisees were independent businessmen, they had to adhere to rigid rules.
Uh-oh, let's get those hamburger patties over.
There's a wonderful note that he sends the McDonald's talking about the dangers of individualism within the company. This is in 1958. He writes to them, he says, "We have found out, as you have, that we cannot trust some people who are nonconformists. We will make conformists out of them in a hurry. Even personal friends who we know have the best of intentions may not conform. They have a difference of opinion as to various processing and certain qualities of product. You cannot give them an inch. The organization cannot trust the individual. The individual must trust the organization, or he shouldn't go into this kind of business." Don't cross Ray Kroc.
Well, Ray was fastidious and very well manicured, and he expected this of everyone who was involved with him in the company. So Ray had this leather packet. You'd put your business cards, your file, and your comb. And then one day, he added a new feature to the packet. It would fit inside your breast pocket. And the new feature he added was a pair of small tweezers. And this was to clip the hair in your nose. Well, I went home that night and looked, and oh my God, I could see I needed the tweezers. And I think I realized where this tweezer idea came from. Ray was a very competitive guy. You know, he had an expression that I used to just wince when he'd say it. But he'd get up in front of a group of licensees, and his saying was, well, if he saw a competitor drowning, he'd grab a hose and help him.
Under Kroc's leadership, the business quickly expanded to 228 stands. Always on the lookout for ways to streamline operations and boost profits, Kroc did not always see eye to eye with the founding fathers of fast food.
Ray Kroc could not make any changes or add anything to the menu unless they had approval of the McDonald brothers, which was fine. The big problem there was, and Ray complained about this bitterly, he would call Mac and Dick on the phone and say, "Dick, we want to use such and such Dixie cup now, or malt cup. Is it all right?" "Oh, sure, go ahead." Say, "Well, will you put it in writing? Send me a letter on it so I have it in writing." "Oh, that's all right. You don't have to bother with that." Well, Kroc's lawyer would say, "Hey, wait a minute, you know, you're in violation of the franchise right there if you do it." And so Ray would have to call, "Hey, you know, let me have a letter." So, well, they would never do it.
For their interest in McDonald's, Ray Kroc paid the brothers a total of $2.7 million. But that did not end the conflict.
Ray said that he understood that the existing McDonald's operation in San Bernardino would be part of the package. And after the deal was done, the Mac brothers said, no, you don't get that store. That's our baby. And we're going to keep it. Well, that's when Ray made this statement to me.
And that was?
I'm not a vindictive sort of person, but I'm going to get those sons of bitches.
Ray Kroc forced the brothers to take down the sign over their original San Bernardino restaurant, which then became known as the Big M. Dick and Mac McDonald took the money they got from Kroc, bought a pair of brand new Cadillacs, and retired to their native New Hampshire.
I have been asked, do I have any regrets about selling out and so forth? And my answer is definitely no, because if we had continued, I would probably end up in a skyscraper somewhere and have about 14 accountants and 2 tax attorneys trying to save on income tax, and all for what? And I have a little strange philosophy too. I believe we're on this earth a rather short time, and I would say to anybody, have a little fun. Have a little fun while you're on this earth, and don't just let money be the thing that's predominant in your thinking all the time.
Dick and Mac McDonald could hardly have foreseen the influence their modest burger stand in San Bernardino would have on America's eating habits. Ray Kroc went on to make McDonald's the largest food service conglomerate in the world, with over 20,000 outlets in 101 countries. The Golden Arches came to symbolize the pioneering spirit of the new American entrepreneur and the nation's need for speed. But the hallmark of the 50s was a machine that moved and defined a uniquely American style.